We're live now. Hi, this is YouTube.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. April 29th. Welcome to the Daily Bone Podcast. All things meme coins and, of course, NFTs. Today, we have a lot to discuss. It's Monday morning. There's always a lot of stories from the weekend. We have 5 huge potential airdrops coming this week. I know you crypto people love airdrops and airdrop farming, so we'll have a lot to talk about there. We're going to talk about crypto's continued bleed and what may end up happening in the month of May. It was a weird April, all things considered, when you look at the history of Aprils in the years where the Bitcoin halving takes place and, of course, elections take place. So very interesting stuff. And last but not least, the hybrid DeFi trend that is picking up steam on Solana. So that's kind of the long and short of what we're going to dive into today. Nick, was there anything you wanted to discuss before we did the weather report?
Nothing really on my mind. I mean, if there's something you'd like me to comment on, I've been very active on Twitter, just in terms of consuming. Lots of content on there. You know what I noticed? And this is just a fascinating thing. I've been like totally out of the loop with geopolitical things because I've muted all these words on my account. So there's like stuff going on. I'm completely unaware about any of it because it's just muted. I don't see anything. You talk about anything.
Is that a positive or a negative? Like, are you happier about this decision, or do you feel lost in the sauce, being completely unaware of what's going on geopolitically?
Well, I mean, I literally read a single article and I think I'm caught up. Like, it doesn't really like require that much effort to figure out what's going on. So that's the thing I just noticed. I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, like this thing is happening over here. Cool. I had no idea. Well, back to crypto. Picking fights with rich European kids in the streets.
Yeah, that video has over 1 million views on Instagram. So I always love to see,
We're now a little fight content platform. So Signal, if you want to beef at all, I'd be interested in maybe picking a fight.
That'd be funny.
Are we going like karate combat kind of fight where I get to do like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and just like grapple you on the floor? Or is it more like fisticuffs at dawn where, you know, you just go and have a cup of tea at 5 o'clock?
I think it may be some very aggressive pointing. Some very aggressive pointing in multiple different directions is what, and getting very close and confrontational with the words that we're using. So that's where I would expect to go on, to a degree where people on the timeline can't tell if it's real or fake. They're confused. Even the people that know you still seem confused, that they cannot figure out whether or not it is real or it is fake, whether I normally hop out of my SUV with bodyguards and get into fights with other people in the street. They just can't figure it out. So one guy on the timeline was like, replied to me, was like, staged. And I replied, I was like, dude, you got to get on my level, man. You just don't know what this life is like. He like blocked me. He was so, and now he's like having conversations with other people about, no, it is staged. Like we can see through this. I'm like,
He's right. He's right.
I mean, I tell him that it's not. Someone said, wait, the fight video wasn't real.
Well, what I was going to say is the previous European kid video that had been published, my friend, who's a very smart guy, asked me if it was real. So I don't know. There's just a certain...
That one looked a little more real.
Okay.
Like if you hadn't seen it, there weren't bodyguards involved. It was literally me and him just in the street. And I forget who it was. Someone hopped in and was like, yo, said supportive things at the end of the fight, as though they had felt as though there was real damage absorbed during that interaction with the rich European kid.
That makes sense. That would make it feel very real. Look, let's dive right in to this Monday, April 29th weather report here. Let's see what's going on in the world of crypto. Sig, please take it away.
Absolutely, guys. What are we doing? Well, that ETH market volume came in at 16.5 million. Solana market volume came in at 5.3, and ordinals came in at 5.8. Onto the market leaders on Ethereum. Most collections are even, but with Mochaverse, they're up to 4.1 ETH floor. Nazuki is also up to 4.6 ETH. Over on the Solana side, you got Canpai Pandas. They're also up to 35.7 Sol. But Mutant Mun, that is down to 2.2 Sol. And then finally, on the ordinal side of things, those puppets, they're down 10% to 0.28. So they should be. I didn't win the competition. And Prometheans are down to 0.02 BTC after that snapshot for rune distribution. On the crypto roundup, most of the majors are in the red this morning. Got Bitcoin, that's down to 62K. ETH outperformed everyone over the weekend, but it did give back some of those gains. It's down 4% over the last 24 hours to 3,150. And Solana is also down 5% to $134. Over on the meme side of things and the alt side of things, they followed the majors as well. Most are down over the last 24 hours. On Solana, they've got Tremp and Bowden. They're both down about 15%, while PackMoon over on Blast, the Pack token, that is one of the only winners. That is up 17% to 55 million market cap. Over the weekend, first story, OKX announced RSIC Runecoin Jumpstart is going live tomorrow, allowing users to stake BTC to mine Runecoin. This is the first major exchange to add support for runes. Runecoin led all runes and volumes. It's up 35% over the last 24 hours to a 340 million market cap. Secondly, over on the token launch front, we have multiple confirmed and rumored tokens are expected to go live this week. It's Rich Week. DeFi app Drifts token went live pre-market on Gate.io overnight. Got Camino Finance Kamino token goes live tomorrow, and ETH restaking protocols Renzo and Eigen are both speculated to be launching tokens this week. Expect for millionaires to come out of this. And finally, friend.tech V2 launches today with the expected release of the Friend token. The V2 launch also is to include UI upgrades and additional features. Some of the leaked updates also include a new point system and a native desk and tradable collectibles. So absolutely huge week for everyone. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Signal. Some updates from the Daily Bone newsletter. This is available to anybody that goes to dailybones.com and subscribes. First story, Forbes published a list of 20, get this, zombie blockchains. I like this one. I like this one a lot. So basically a zombie blockchain is a blockchain that has a high market cap despite lack of traction or adoption. Some of the names that you can imagine were mentioned in the article are XRP, Cardano, Stacks is pretty disrespectful to Stacks right there, Flow, and Tezos. So very interesting stuff. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people would agree with some of those. I think maybe the Stacks people probably find that pretty disrespectful. Next story, Australia's top exchange is set to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs in 2024. This is going to keep happening. I don't know anything, obviously, about the Australian ETF market. I can't imagine it matters all that much compared to the United States one, but very cool to see more ETFs getting approved globally. Of course, we did discuss Hong Kong having not only Bitcoin ETFs approved, but Ethereum as well. Next story, 160 images of Donald Trump were inscribed on Bitcoin and are reserved for collectors who minted 47 Trump mugshot edition NFTs. And so is this an official Trump release on Bitcoin right here?
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, if you told us 2 years ago, there would be a lot of official Trump NFTs, I think we'd be like, nah, you're pulling my leg. Now it's very normal. It's normalized. People actually don't even really care about this. Next story, OSF launched PackMoon derivative PackRect. That collection's on Blaster, a quote, no risk NFT minting platform on Blaster. What makes it no risk, Clemente?
It's refundable. Sorry, Clemente, go.
Nah, good, easy. Anything?
29 days, you can refund the NFT and get all of your money back. So you have a full month. It's pretty interesting, to be completely honest. There's a massive Blast Gold allocation going out to this too, which is why a lot of people are participating. I think OSF did the best possible move with this because he got the PackMoon retweet, which gives him farming PackMoon. He's now has a ton of ETH staked in Blaster, which gives him the 8%, I think, or whatever it is that Blast gives you on the ETH. And if they don't refund it after 30 days, he gets the ETH. So basically it's like this loop right now, and he gets Blast Gold. So it's like a triple whammy farm going on here that I think was a really well done move, and it got people excited. So we've now seen Cyrus, Stats, and OSF all launch NFTs through Blaster in this fully refundable thing.
I minted that as well yesterday. It was one of those quiet weekends where I'm like, it's quiet, but perhaps it's too quiet. So
What
I
was
was
the
actually
price to
even
mint?
more. It was 0.16 ETH to mint. And I was
Okay.
like, this is the biggest no-brainer ever. And what he did is that he gave allow lists to Rect Guy holders and the top 7,000 Pack Moon holders. And it didn't really mint out that much. I think when I minted, it was like 9%. And then as soon as it went to public, it just flew and completely minted out. And there was a bit of a profit, and it was actually a profitable trade as well. I think it went up to like 0.18, but like with no gas over on Blast, that actually means something. But yeah, it was great. And then you either keep it or you refund in 29 days. And I, as a collector, also get to earn gold as well. So no brainer over here. Absolute no brainer.
If you're following my account, you'll be noticing a lot of Pac Moon tweets coming out over the next 48 hours.
Oh, you have less than 48 hours, Nick.
Okay,
Like significantly less. You have like 12 hours.
12?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, check
Okay.
check the Pac Moon site. It'll tell you when season 3 ends.
I thought it ends tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think it ends at midnight tonight. So technically tomorrow.
Okay, well then
I have to
today
double
is
check. Give me 1 second just to give
National
you
Pac
confirmation.
Moon holiday, which I'm really glad to be celebrating. Shout out to everybody who's huge sort of Pac Moon.
Okay, so you have 1 day and 2 hours. So it ends tomorrow at 12 noon.
Very interesting. So did OSF generate like almost $2 million in revenue real quick by launching this
He
mint?
can't touch that money. So that money is not given to him until after the 30 days.
Doesn't seem that bad. I mean, it seems
Wait,
like
so he's gonna get that money. I thought it's used to refund.
Unless they don't claim the refund. They have 30 days to claim the refund, and then he gets the money.
well, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
$2 million
and they're
bucks.
unruggable. It's like they're marketing it as unruggable NFTs. So I mean, not that like OSF would rug, but if there was another actor on there that you weren't sure about, you get to get a refund and earn gold. So for me, there was an absolute no-brainer minting this last night. But yeah, and as Easy said, there's been other prominent people on Twitter who've dropped collections as well, like NFT statistics, and they're all coming out. So keep an eye, guys. I think we're going to see more creators go on here, and if they have this allow list mechanism where you get to go in the first wave, I think it could be really interesting.
And you get the yield. So whatever those $2 million in 30 days, whatever 5% yield of that, OSF does get that.
So
Yeah, wow. Nick?
I mean, dude, this guy just can't lose.
Did you say Cyrus did a drop too?
Yep.
NFT stats did as well.
NFT stats did.
Yeah.
Yep. Both of them have. They're like the two biggest Blast gold farmers. I had a conversation with somebody this weekend who's pretty like heavy in the space, and they were asking my thoughts on Blast. And I was just like, honestly, if it wasn't for Cyrus and stats, you would barely see anybody talking about it. But they've really put the weight of the world on their back with their Blast posts and the farming stuff. Every new protocol drops, they just ape it. Like there was a watch mint that was, you could mint, I think it was like 400 total watches that were mystery boxes for everyone to mint. The people raised like a boatload of money, multiple millions. They were like, the watches were basically under market value, or you were buying over market value for them. So you were actually losing money on each watch, but they got 700,000 Blast gold to give out to like the 30 people who minted these watches. So it was like, they're just going all in on the Blast airdrop farming right now because they continue to say that it's like one of the least farmed opportunities here, which I think they're right.
Wow. I mean, pretty fascinating. In crypto, when you get these like what I'd call like incentive alignments, where it's like basically it makes sense to buy something because of like some other value that you'll get from it, and then someone's able to like kind of get a piece of that, and it's pretty wild stuff. It kind of doesn't exist anywhere else. Last story from the newsletter: Cool Man's Universe launched Cool Token and received FUD, claiming that they sniped 95% of the supply before releasing the contract address to the public. The token is down 65% to a $30 million market cap.
So yeah, they bought $1 worth of the token and sold it for $456,000. 10 minutes before the contract was public.
Got it. That's
about the extent of it.
The fact that it's still 30 million, I guess, is pretty good.
It opened up at 250 million.
I mean, that's crazy high.
Yeah, with 1.2 million in liquidity at the time.
But the holder claim wasn't live yet.
No.
So it was pre-holder claim going live that it was trading at this high, and they were just dumping. Allegedly.
Relentlessly.
Nick, thank God you sold your cool mans, huh? It's down
what's
to
the floor
0.02
on that
now.
They're at 0.02.
Yeah.
Let's go. No,
Great exit.
0.04.
Oh, a little post.
Are you looking on Blur or OpenSea?
Definitely OpenSea.
0.03.
Okay.
Opening up OpenSea is wild. Anyway, the final story is that
wearable.
Rareable. I love it. The last story is that both of the one of one Bodago's items from the 420 drop are going to the same owner. We're not going to disclose the owner's name out of respect for confidentiality, but let's just say they're going to Canada. So Canada, specifically Toronto. Okay, or we're going to. Well, I guess he's.
No, he
he's
tweeted.
Okay, he's tweeting it. All right. You just never know. I just want to make sure I didn't blow up anybody's spot. Pranav Kanda. These things are going to Toronto. Big shout out to Pranav. He's a badass. He's taking home both of them. Absolutely love to see.
He's going to be getting high as hell, man. Wow, he's going to be so high. Oh, man. How much better can it get?
Big shout out to Pranav. Get high, buddy. Anyway, moving on. He just texted me. He said, "I don't even smoke."
He's actually gonna just use them as a vase.
I think they are decorations for sure. So big shout out to him. Huge W. Love to see it. So we had one of the biggest weeks in crypto so far this year. It was filled with token launches and potential catalysts for crypto and for NFTs.
That's for this week. This week it's coming up.
This week coming up. So friend.tech V2 is expected to launch today with the friend token. So we'll have to see if that was actually something to write home about, or if it's going to be a little underwhelming. Solana DeFi app, Camino Finance's Camino token goes live for tomorrow. That's ticker KMNO. Next one, Solana Perps Dex Drift Finance launched the Drift token last night for pre-market trading. Liquid staking protocol, is it Renzo or is it Henzo? I don't know. Expected to launch their REZ token tomorrow. And EigenLayer's token is speculated to possibly launch later this week. Last but not least, PackMoon Season 3 airdrop is expected May 1st, so that's coming up this week. I guess which of these tokens is most significant? There's a lot of crypto stuff launching this week.
And PackMoon are the two that I'm like most interested in, because it's gonna set
and
the standard
EigenLayer.
So EigenLayer, yes, but I've recently been very torn on EigenLayer, very much so recently, because of the restaking efforts of it. So just kind of to start with it, it's like the SocialFi stuff is where I'm most interested right now, because if that pops off, we also have the Arena token, which is on AVAX, Stars Arena, formerly Stars Arena, now just the Arena, which would set a heavy precedent. The thing with EigenLayer right now is that the more I think about it, it's just like another liquid staking derivative. They haven't, like, the thing that I'm most interested about Monad, which is like the counterparty to EigenLayer, is that they hired someone like a thread guy to lead the quote culture and NFT side. You haven't heard anybody building anything on top of EigenLayer besides just heavy VC investments. Monad is already starting on the dApps NFT front and stuff like that, where now I'm like, I've almost shifted bearish on EigenLayer, where like I have restaked ETH in it, where I just want to sell the token day one. Like I just want to get out. And I'd rather start to find more opportunity to get involved in something like a Monad, which has like started to form levels of culture, which I'm more interested in. But that's why I'm like really interested in the SocialFi stuff, because friend.tech's selling for $5 to $6 a point right now. Like right now, still to this day. Which is
I don't
absurd.
believe in that volume, Easy. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm
be
so
watched,
skeptical around it.
Still think about it from this perspective. If that sells all the way down to $1 and you still get $1 a point, despite the lack of volume on the platform, that's a great airdrop for countless people. Like
How
an
do you see
absurd
how many
amount of people.
points you have? Because I keep seeing this thing and I just can't.
Go into your friend.tech profile, go into the profile page on the far right, and then it'll show, I think there's either an airdrop or a points section underneath the profile section, and it'll show your weekly leaderboard and total points and what your rank is.
I do not
suppose-
see points.
I see the positive of this in that like the speculation is so wide as to what this could be, whether it's going to be $1 or $30. Like that's actually a good thing, because that means it wasn't over farmed, but there are people who've been doing this hardcore for like pretty much since it came out. But I guess when it comes to friend.tech, I'm just very skeptical on the current numbers which we're seeing in the OTC market. I mean, let's see what happens. Good thing is that the product actually survived. I know, PO, you were really skeptical on friend.tech when it first came out, but it actually has survived the last 12 months, and we're going to be getting version 2. So it'll be interesting to see where the product goes and how this airdrop does.
What does survive mean exactly? Like, just not literally
implode,
get removed from the apps? Like,
well, it didn't rug, basically. Survive means it didn't rug, and people are using the product, and we'll probably see like depending how this airdrop does, we'll probably see more people using it if the airdrop goes well.
I was reading my friend.tech messages this week. Just kidding. That's something nobody's ever said.
I wanted friend.tech to be really good. I was very skeptical when people were trying to tell me to buy assets on it. I was like, no, I will not be doing that under any circumstances. Then people were buying my key and they were telling me my key was undervalued. And I was like, what does that mean? I do not understand what you mean by that. My key is not NVIDIA stock. I do not understand what you're talking about. Anyway, okay, well, we'll see what happens with this token. Clemente, was there something you wanted to chime in with about this week's crypto tokens? What do you find most interesting?
The only thing I could potentially make money on is the Pac Moon airdrop, but I'm worried about there's the taxes available. I don't know. And Pac Moon's also been bleeding a little bit the last week.
Look at the whole market though.
It bled like 40%. It's rebounded. It's up 17% today, but from its all-time high, I think it's down 50%. It will be very interesting to see what happens with the new influx of tokens with post airdrop. But we saw that last time this happened, it actually ran post airdrop. So we'll see how that one goes. But that's the one I could have exposure with. But I agree on the friend.tech front. If people do make money, like Thread Guy has like, what was it, 15,000 points? Yeah, 15,000 points. If it's even trading at $1, it's a $15,000 airdrop. That's not bad at all.
I don't know, 50 cents, dude gets $8 grand. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know who's gonna buy this. I don't know who's going, hey, I'm really excited for this friend.tech airdrop, dude. I'm gonna buy this.
Well, but anytime it's a fungible token, though, there could be like some market making, at least for the first few weeks. So that's something that you have to think about. And
I'm assuming it's on base.
Yes.
Which does make it interesting from like the standpoint that I don't know what wasn't the most popular token on base cock.
No,
it definitely was.
That was AVAX.
Oh, that was AVAX.
Yeah, cock was on AVAX.
What's the popular base one?
Brett, which turned out 80 to 90% of the tokens were held by the team.
That was a scam. So what?
No, it's it's up 62% in the last like 48 hours.
It was literally a scam though, but anyway, go ahead.
But it's back. It's so back, dude.
What's the second one?
What is the second one? Well, Degen.
Ball.
That's the Farcaster one.
Okay,
Oh, that's probably the most. That's like the number one token. I have to think.
They also had the MFR token was on there, which both of you made money on.
Oh yeah, I guess we did. Nick told me to buy that. He was at my house, and I made a whopping.
I even sell that?
Probably not. Probably not.
There's no way he sold.
Good chance you didn't. So you're probably down about 84%.
Nick might have, because I did. For a whopping like 0.18 Ethereum of profit, really, running shit over here.
Yeah, I think I did get out. Yeah. I mean, I've 0.47. I think we moved a quarter ETH over, and then it's now 0.47. So I'm happy with that.
This Brett chart, look at this thing.
So rebound. Look at that.
Wild. Okay. Well, anyway, any other thoughts on any of these tokens? Camino.
This Nick? Brett token commentary reminds me of like the racist FUD. When we were talking, what was that?
Jungle Freaks.
And we were like, yeah, dude, you got to buy the racist FUD sell off. That's a great time to get in there. Even though, I mean, that was like legit. Like that wasn't racist FUD. That was like, hadn't that guy
actual racism,
full blown racist comics?
Is commenters are chiming in kind of out of the blue because we weren't really talking about either topic, saying that Lil Pudgys will be bridged to Solana. Is there any truth to this?
There was an interview with Jupe that Luca was on, and he stated that he would be open to the move of Little Pudgys to Solana. The bigger thing here is like I don't think this is like that crazy, and yet a lot of people are like really excited about it because it's more just like the second Layer 0 has Solana support, they can be bridged to Solana. We've already seen Canpie Pandas do it. We just watched Killa Bears move their cubs to Sol and like a full pivot, a full move off of ETH to Solana. So like it would not shock me in the slightest. And I also don't think it's like this revolutionary thing that's going to happen. It's more so just the fact that like the second Layer 0 provides Solana support, which has been on their roadmap for an extended period of time. That entire situation is present.
Yeah, I think it's people are just probably interested because there's a belief that Solana is a better chain for NFTs, which I think is a fair assessment to make. So yeah, people are gonna get excited because they'll go there. Look, we're gonna cover crypto price action, then we're gonna talk a little bit about Blur on Blast. Crypto price action the last 7 days, chopping up, right? 62K Bitcoin. Ethereum, I suppose, holding stronger than Bitcoin and Solana. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but I'd love to know what Easy and Nick are thinking about the relationship in price of Ethereum versus Bitcoin and Solana. Nick, I'd imagine you have a lot of thoughts on this. You've probably been doing your charting. DC Investor was banging the drum of Ethereum's strength during this period of time, as you can imagine. What do you think's going on?
I mean, Ethereum has like dude, the timeline is just like thirsty, man. Thirsty for engagement over like the most garbage commentary at this point in time. It's like Ethereum pumps for like the ETH BTC ratio has like increased after getting absolutely pummeled day after day during this rally, or during the rally kind of ended a while ago, but I guess back in March. So we've been 6 weeks of sideways action. Yeah, the ETH. I want to look up the ETH BTC chart. I don't remember, dude. I have too many tickers now here, and here it is. I'll pull this up.
So we have a little chart action going on the video feed, ladies and gentlemen.
So basically, this is what they're excited about. This little tiny thing right here, but like zoom out. What? I don't even know what.
Walk us through for the people that are just listening. Walk us through in a simple way.
So basically, ETH BTC, it maxed out back in December of 2021. Rallied again September 2022, and it's basically been downhill ever since. We saw a rally back in January. It had a significant spike. We saw February a little bit of a spike, and now we have like 1 day. You have to like really zoom in to see that we have like 2 days of green candles, and the ETH maxes are just like, oh, this is it. This is it. ETH is about to take over Bitcoin all of a sudden. And it just feels like completely ridiculous.
I think
Can you
it's
open
more
up the
though,
weekly
Nick,
and the monthly chart? Oh, sorry.
So it's just, I think it's more the narrative against when the majors were all going down over the weekend. ETH was the only one to pump. And because of the ETF coming up, this has sort of been circulating that there are rumors that potentially the ETF could have been approved, but like some kind of insider knowledge is happening, which is why ETH pumped against the backdrop of everything else going down. Otherwise, I think people would be ignoring this.
But nothing happened. It's not going to be approved in May at this point. I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. This is just the weirdest in terms of this chart. It's pretty bearish. The bigger thing that sucks, honestly, if there's charts that I don't like looking at right now, it would be Solana. Solana's in an interesting place. I had this line drawn. For those that aren't looking, this is some random line that I drew on a chart. But it's very meaningful because it's connected at multiple points on the chart to prices that have crossed that line. I don't know if we don't get this bounce off of this random line that I drew, which I don't put a lot of significance in, but whatever, I'll stick with it at call it 130, something like that. I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot of this one has not felt super strong recently. Sucks to observe. Avalanche. I mean, dude, life is the AVAX admiral has been, it's been lonely over here recently. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has this like sort of, it's been pulling back. If this breaks down, I mean, I saw someone bear posting, dude, I can't, with Twitter at this point in time, dude, it's impossible to get any sort of insight. Like, you can't get insight
It was
now.
always like that. Always. It was
There used to be
always
some
like
times
that.
where you could figure out a trend and either like fade it or follow it. Right now, dude, it's like any 1% move on the 5-minute chart, someone's bear or bull posting. It's like garbage. There's like very select
It
people
was
that I'm
always
like,
like
okay,
that.
I like this. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Right now, it feels like the market's just wicked choppy, like extremely choppy. And if you're trading leverage right now, you're just gonna get burned. Like plain and simple. Like just sit in your spot bags, hang out, and let the market dictate where it's gonna go. Like don't overthink it.
I mean,
Real quick, can I say something?
no.
So I got news Sunday. My Golf TDI 2012 just sold, baby.
Breaking news.
Breaking
Oh,
news. So I
it's
got
$7 sold.
$7,000 entering my my Coinbase in a matter of days. What should I be buying here? Buy some Solana? Should I buy some Bitcoin? And this is not gambling, by the way. This is not my gambling wallet. This is strictly long-term smart. I'm going to Google sheet this. I'm going to be tracking the hell out of this. Nick, what should I be buying here?
Solana?
Solana?
NFTs, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
I'd actually be curious what Nick would say.
Dude, I've been putting mostly everything into Bitcoin and Solana. Are the two things that I keep buying more of. I go back and forth on, well, dude, yeah, Bitcoin and Solana are the two that I end up continuing to buy. When it goes down, if we do have it break down, I want to see how this, like, Bitcoin is getting set up for a questionable sort of like thing here. 3 touches on the, we were discussing this the other day, Easy and myself, where like this current setup here, just, it doesn't look strong. Usually when, one of the best, I think it could have been like at or very close to the bottom. Bitcoin got a triple bottom basically and just ripped off of that base. Now this is a triple top situation.
Well, no, you still have the triple bottom here on the daily. If you look, like 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah. Like we're in a spot right now where it's make or break. Like next decision will dictate where we go. Either we're dropping down to like 52K or we're pushing back to 70K.
We're going like this.
It could go the other way. It could go the other way.
Wah.
Yeah, like it could drop down here. The one thing that I think is a positive is if you look at the volume charts at the bottom, that's where I'm more interested because like volume's not surging in this breakdown, which is what you want. Whereas on the break up, we saw a massive volume or a leg up. So like it seems like it's just not consistent buy pressure. It's just choppy market. Like if we see a nice leg up in volume here, then we should push higher. That's kind of my hope. We'll see. It's a sit spot. Let the market dictate. You may not time the bottom perfectly, but you can still get some decent entries.
Well, I think this Bitcoin chart is looking interesting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Clemente, did you gather any insight there? You're going to make a decision based on anything discussed there?
I think I'm going to 50-50 it. Just half Bitcoin.
All the capital right away.
Oh, should I not? Should I be waiting?
Dude, what did I just say? Just wait for the market to decide. If the market sells off here, you're going to have better entries.
If it goes up, then chase the hell out of it.
If it goes up, I'm just plowing it into meme coins.
Dude. All right, I like his style. You could just daily DCA it and not think twice about it. Take Coinbase, set up a daily DCA and buy like $30 to $50 worth a day and call it a day and just hang out for a minute.
It's interesting.
I have been watching the sort of meme coin narrative Like there's so many people that I would say are more like traditional investor crypto people. I don't know how to describe the cohort.
Talking
People
about
I
like
consider-
European kid and his brother.
Okay, well I don't know about him, but smarter people. No, I don't. No, but smarter people who've been in this space for a while that have made money from this space, who are kind of discussing this narrative of like meme coins and how like it's kind of the overall crypto narrative, I would say, around sort of like fuck the government, like screw traditional investments. I mean, look, the younger generation, including me at 42, we're getting squeezed on everything, including like housing, which you can't buy. Like it's just not. There's no math that makes sense to be buying a house if you've been like saving money. You can have $1 million sitting in the bank.
Saving cash.
Yeah, saving capital, investing in assets, whatever you want to call it, but not property. So I was looking. I was down at my mom's last week for Passover, and we were having a conversation. Her neighbor's house went on sale, or was about to go on the market. And I was like, "You think she'd sell it to you?" And then I was like, "Well, let's run the math." And I was just like, this math ain't mathing. Like there's no world in which this actually makes sense, because like the payback period on you renting the property,
Oh,
if you were to
that math
finance
doesn't
it at
math.
all,
No.
it just doesn't make sense. Your payback period is going to be like 30 years or something like that for you to get your money back, which is just absurd. Like why, like it seemed like a cool idea, because I was like, hey, maybe we make some side cash and you can just knock on their door. You're literally their neighbor at that point. That's as good as it gets. Maybe not neighbor. Maybe you want one house down, maybe a little bit of a boundary between your wall and their wall. But okay, getting hated for my younger generation.
No, but Nick, so I think you bring up a valid point. We can touch on this quickly before we move on. Real estate it's not supposed to be like an incredible investment. It's supposed to be shelter. But when the baseline currency of the country that you live in is getting wrecked, it's getting debased, that's when people just they try to plow their money into assets. And that's how you see like the housing, the opposite of a bubble, just the housing run that's happened since 2020, since the money printer went burr. Obviously it was happening before that too, but if you look at the money supply chart, it's really picked up since 2020. Ron was talking about that when he was on our show, if you remember. He's like, yeah, this doesn't happen. This never happened before, by the way. Like the amount of money being created has never happened before. It's wild stuff. That's also why you see asset prices like in the stock market pumping the way that they have.
I saw an article this morning, maybe it was the Wall Street Journal or something like that, because I woke up too early. It was saying essentially there's like new policies that they're trying to make to force the all of the private equity and public companies that were buying residential real estate, to sell it to
that would be good.
Well,
that would be
huge
good.
issue down here. Like a massive issue in Miami is the fact that BlackRock owns like 60 to 70% of multifamily homes. They bought like 80% of Wynwood the last 10 years or something. It's like actually ridiculous how much property they own down here.
That is an asshole move. Like actually.
They own so much. Every developed apartment building here is owned by one of them or their subsidiaries. It's like the most ridiculous thing.
That is an asshole move. Like if there's any asshole move that you're talking about, besides literally debasing the currency, which is totally an asshole move, like 1,000%, BlackRock, the biggest financial institution in the world, buying single family homes and like competing with like a 32-year-old couple that's trying to have the first kid. That's crazy.
Dude, but BlackRock's been supporting Bitcoin, Pio, so shut your mouth.
Yeah, don't fade IBIT, bro.
But it's not only BlackRock doing this. All these large institutions are doing this, because since basically 2009, interest rates have been at zero. So like, where were they going to park their money? They had to deploy their cash somewhere where it could actually generate returns over the years. And so like buying a home up until pretty much last 2 years, I want to say, was positive EV because interest rates were pretty much at zero. Like, depending where you live in the world, you could have literally taken out a mortgage, locked it for the next 20 years at like less than 1%, and you'd be just sitting pretty. You're like, my rent will never go up. I'm in this for the next 20 years. It's happy days. If you live somewhere else where you're seeing variable rates, so you've gone from like your interest rate, your mortgage being at 1% to now being like 7 or 8%, that's horrible. That's disgusting. Like, no one's wage is even going to be able to keep up with like the rise in inflation right now. So I get what you're saying, Nick. If you'd bought up until 3 years ago, you would have been okay. But these last 2 years, it's just, and going forward, it's just punishment.
Yeah, so your income's not going up. Like your salary is not going up at a pace relative to inflation. It's just not keeping up at this point in time. The retail prices are just going up. The corporations are just hoarding a fuck ton of cash. My tweet about Google didn't like do well the other day, but regardless, they made
too smart of a tweet.
They made one dividend payment that's going to be enough for every American to get $300 off of like a quarter of revenue, which to me is so outrageous. What was when the U.S. government sent checks to everybody? What was it, like $3,000, $2,000?
Yeah. My buddies, dude, yeah, it was absurd.
So Google could each year basically pay out $1,200 and still just be printing cash, like to Americans. They could do that. I'm not suggesting that that's what needs to be done, but in order for like us to keep up, we have to go like YOLO bet into meme coins in order to like try and keep up with all this stuff to be able to like buy a house. Like, that's like the grand picture. Like, yo, it'd be cool to get like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Right. Not as an investment, but rather just shelter. Yeah.
For my own future. Like, that I could be like that I'm not betting everything that I have at any given moment so that I can actually have an apartment, that I could have like security for myself. Like, dude, the whole thing is so ridiculous at this point in time, and all the people online talking about, dude, the amount of like 15-year-olds having YouTube channels telling you how to make money is like also a ridiculous sign. Like, we already got kids that are watching that 15-year-old being like, man, I got to get on that grind. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm trying to get a Rollie. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a Lambo out here.
I do like children having ambition to earn. I think that's good, because sometimes when you and me are like at Washington Square Park, sticking microphones in people's faces, I'll look at the person and I'm like, this 22-year-old girl, like, with this piercing that goes to NYU, she like doesn't stand a chance. I'm like, how is she going to make money? I just don't understand.
Well, she's rich.
Some of them are. Some of them are. Not all of them. Not all of them. Real quick, someone put what I said incredibly succinctly. Trader Fermi, who's a longtime listener, said, in a world where money isn't fucked, housing is to house people. Very well put, Trader Fermi. Very well put.
Very insightful.
The only thing I'll say really quick is I've been talking to a lot of my friends and asking them about what they buy, all this stuff. And my buddy was like,
crack cocaine.
No, all these guys, I'm like, what?
Oh, no, that's not what they do.
So many of these people just have such little, like, they're making almost 6 figures, by the way, if not more. But so many of them have so little money, like disposable income, because they're like, oh no, like, I'm going to spend my money going on vacation, going out.
Inflation. 6 figures now is about 37K back in Nick's day and age, 47 years ago. So it's just a totally different situation now.
But then, like, I was thinking about compared to 2021, and I brought this up before, it was like all of these people had $3,000 checks flowing in. They had no vacation.
But that's not a lot of money.
Like, but they were just yeeting that all into into crypto.
So I got two separate things on this. The one is on your friends. How old are your friends? Like, are they 2 years out of college? Because when I was like at that age, I had $10,000 in credit card debt, buying champagne, the discount champagne bottles at nightclubs.
You were doing that? You were getting bottle service?
$50 bottles of champagne.
Okay.
At this,
I didn't know
That's
you could
budget.
buy $50 bottles.
they had it at this club
kind of
1223,
electric.
and your boy was getting table service with $55 champagne bottles. Be like, yo, this guy's balling. Like, what's going on? But I had like a few $1,000s in credit card debt and was traveling the world and going on vacation. Like, I was like, I'll end up making enough to pay this back, which was the case. Like a couple of years later, I just paid back all of the credit card debt. But the other thing, in addition to that, so there's a funny thing with so over 50, I think it's over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, including people
It might be higher.
It could be 75 or some absurd percent. So yeah, so well over 60. What am I talking about? Yeah, it could be over 75. And that includes people that are making over $100,000.
Yeah.
We had this, there was this thing that happened at I used to work at this company, Daily Pay, where we would essentially partner with employers to help give employees essentially advances on their payroll, but it was disrupting payday lending. But what we would see is just this huge dip in activity happen around what we ended up, we were like, is the site down? Like, what's going on? What's taking place? And it turned out that it was tax refunds. And during that time, when people get tax refunds, they don't show up to work. They just don't show up, basically. The employers are like, yeah, literally half our staff will just disappear. And suddenly they all call in sick. And because they take the tax refund that they have and they just go party. Like they go on vacation, they buy all sorts of random shit off of like a $1,200 refund that they got. And it turns out the biggest refunds actually do go the paycheck to paycheck cohort of people actually get the biggest refunds. So it's interesting that like they're like it's just representative of the sort of spending habits of Americans in general. People don't have savings. Like they don't even have savings.
And when they get that money, they want to spend it because they don't know when they're going to get the money again. That's like the big, like it's a whole psychological thing about people who don't come from money, who get money, spend it so quickly because they don't know if they're going to have it again.
78% is the number.
When they get a lump sum, they're more inclined to spend it. We saw it with like the whole COVID stimmy too. When everyone was getting the 3 to 4K that they were getting and all the unemployment that people were getting, they spent the ever living shit out of it. The economy's never been better. Like these people were dumping cash, dude.
It's like when we talk about it like this, it's like Argentina shit. It's like, yeah, the currency's debased, so I'm just going to spend it. It is a little bit different because it's actually more about like really poor impulsive spending habits. In Argentina, they just don't save the money.
No, it's also the fact that the employers that we worked with could have solved the entire problem by just increasing the wage by 30% instead of paying literal like minimum wage. And basically those companies don't operate in New York City. They don't operate in LA. They don't operate in the like where real estate is most expensive. They go to the shitty areas where they can actually pay people $12 an hour or something like that, or $9 an hour or something. The reason people are taking loans is to buy their baby's diapers. Like that's like the type of things that people are paying for. And so it's outrageous that that's actually still like a huge chunk of America. You're talking about at least call it a third of the country is operating in that world, like that world where they can't afford to buy diapers for their baby, food for the baby. They can't afford to have a baby, period. But they have one because
they had sex.
Yeah, exactly. Shame on them.
Yeah.
And don't you know you can't have sex when you're poor? What's going on?
Do not have sex.
So
stop.
Yeah, guys, quit it.
Get it together.
Literally stop having sex. Okay. Well, anyway, I think we can end that section of the conversation on that note quickly. I do enjoy talking about the issues in the United States with currency, and
no, it's talking about why people yeet into meme coins. And I would actually say if you look at when the refunds take place, which is what I think it's about to happen, you could see a pump
next 7 to 10 days.
Coins.
We may get a cook.
We
may get a cook. We may get an absolute giga cook here.
Kidding. And that's going to be the biggest indicator, in my opinion, as to whether or not you have that cohort of people. it either validates or invalidates the thesis.
Either retail's here or not.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. Like, and if meme coins pump and retail's here, we're a lot closer to the top than we are the bottom. If they're not, oh, we're going so much higher.
I don't
We're going
think
so much higher.
I don't think retail's here until over 100K Bitcoin as basically the starting point. I really don't think so. I think that there's a teeny weeny percentage of retail here, but like, yeah, I just don't think so. Real quick, so we want to talk about the state of hybrid DeFi. Okay, so Easy, you've been calling for the hybrid DeFi trend on Solana. Last week. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
literally out of everyone.
Have you been calling for this, Nick?
I've been doing this every day, dude. I'm out there. Anyways, go ahead.
You don't have to be calling for everything. It's not like a character attack that you haven't been calling for it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of the hybrid DeFi ever.
Yeah, like it's very strange to be like, I've been calling for this one specific thing. Like, no, like
This very niche new contract that launched the last 60 to 75 days. Like, yeah, no, absolutely.
It's like an opinion thing. It's okay, Nick. Anyway, last week we saw 2 SPL mints. First with Fluffies having a big success, and then Mall Street not doing as well. What do we need to know about these 2 mints? Why one did significantly better than the other? What can we learn from the way that this played out? And then I want to talk about if there's any other SPL 404 mints that you're paying attention to.
Yeah, no, good question too. And I mean, just seeing where the market went with it, Fluffies launched and raised a little over $1 million purely through a pre-sale. It was a fair launch. There was no allow list, no white list. It was send money to this wallet. We'll give you the allocation, much like we saw with meme coins. And because it was the first one, a lot of people were almost hesitant on it. So it wasn't a very crowded trade, despite $1 million raised. And with that, because it was the first 404 that dropped, they had all the functionality ready to go day one, which was really interesting. Of course, this was actually like the counterpart of this too, and why I think the chart went so red so quickly, was that there was a lot of competition following this. There wasn't many 404s on the market, so everyone who wanted 404 exposure got into Fluffies. But of course, with anything that's hyper liquid, you're also subject to more sell pressure because you can get out instantly. So that's where we've now seen this. And as competition enters the market, we're going to continue to see more of these 404s either pump or sell off pretty hard. Mall Street minted for 0.8, went as high as 1.6, so it was still a 2x. And I've been talking pretty heavily about these. I'm like, get in early, figure out how to get these mints, sell into the volume before the next one drops, because people are going to be chasing the liquidity cycle on these until a 404 innovates. And that's where I'm most interested in. There's a handful still dropping that I'm excited about. We have Queck Capital that's supposed to be doing something today that I'm keeping a close eye on. You have Trees on Sol, which is dropping. I think Bodogos are going to be getting some exposure to that one. We've been talking to their team as well. Go-Go Knots, which is through the Rove World team, which does IRL ticketing. There's some known personalities in there. Jason, who's the new CEO of Stars Arena, is behind it. Amy Street, some others that are friends of the show. So that one I'm very interested in because Doc's team. A lot of interesting mechanics here. So Go-Go Knots, Trees on Sol, and Queck Capital are the 3 that are most being talked about right now as far as like social media pushes, where people are interested, where the market's kind of looking. So I think that's kind of where I'm interested right now, to see what's going to be happening with the 404 side of things. But I think overall, we're going to see marketplaces start to integrate it more closely where they have swaps on marketplaces. So for example, it's been great to work with Tensor. Hopeful, fingers crossed, that we start to see more of like the swap right into the token right on the web page. So we can trade the marketplace, trade the NFTs, buy them, swap the tokens, arbitrage opportunities. Because that was the big thing with Fluffies, was as the token pumped, the NFT stagnated. So you could actually buy the NFT after the token pump, swap it, and make like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Multiple people printed 15, 20 Sol just arbing the NFTs.
This is the future of the whole NFT space, I think. I like this approach.
You've been calling for it.
Your boy was onto something. Nick's never missed.
The 404s, I was saying, and then Easy was like, "Oh, I like what Nick's talking about. I'm gonna go and look into this."
Nick, you're overthinking it even more though. Games are where I'm most interested for 404s. In-game currency that can be used for loot boxes to get items all through the token swap for NFT assets. So now you have games where you have like in Warcraft or RuneScape, you take the gold, you swap it for an item, you get a random item, you equip it to your character. You can sell it instant. There's so much cool shit with this that I'm like genuinely excited about.
This is very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. We should have more of a conversation with Tensor about this, because I think that this obviously, like, their heads down right now. I don't know. They haven't specified what they're working on, but my my own prediction is that they're going to be very active. I saw them tweet something and reply to someone talking about meme coins, and I feel like they're going to be active inevitably on that front, at least as it applies to like 404s. And I mean, dude, the ability to have like pictures associated, there's so many interesting creative things that you can do with the tokens, and it's a way to like get that community engagement happening and building various you can build out an ecosystem as a result of it by having those sort of tokens. Like other people can choose to accept your token basically as a form of, you know, payment or exchange or whatever it is to like make a contribution. My only question is like, is there, we need to get like a lawyer involved to like talk about like what
being a U.S. resident and doing this is 1000% not okay. It's a straight up token. Like it's an ICO.
I don't want to say that it's 1000%. That's not based on, you're not a lawyer, sir.
All right, let's call the lawyer. Can we get a lawyer on the show?
I would like to get a lawyer on the show to have a conversation about
Please don't say that. The amount of lawyers that are going to be in my DMs now just be like, no, I want to come on the show.
DMPO if you're a lawyer and want to get on the show.
Please.
No.
Good God.
I think that or we'll just pay our lawyers to like give us feedback on what this is. As long as there's like a supply constraint and it's a dynamic which is interactive based on the NFT, that to me feels like you didn't give like.
So the 404 standard right now, Nick, by the way, is there's 10,000 NFTs, right? Max capacity. If every token is swapped for the NFT, there'll be 10,000 on the market. There can never be more. So there's an equal weighted distribution of that. Rares get
how many tokens per NFT though?
So that can vary. So like I have a 1-of-1 fluffies that they made for me. I can swap that right now for 50,000 tokens. Whereas a common or floor is worth 5,000.
Okay.
So they have weighted scales. Like certain traits can be swapped.
Well, I'm really happy for you, Easy. Thanks for dropping that.
I'm just trying to explain this to you. There's certain like rarity. They have all the tiered rarity based on their like they added a metadata layer that's like common, uncommon, rare, epic, 1-of-1. And those 5 tiers all have different amounts of token that you can get. But the same way is even if you swap 5,000 tokens, you could theoretically pull an epic or a rare, which now automatically gives you more tokens than it's worth because there's a certain number sitting in the pool that you can pull from.
It's a fixed supply of tokens is the bottom line.
Yes.
To the NFTs. So whatever the ratio is, that's the system. I just love this idea because it introduces additional flexibility where you could even introduce other NFTs and increase that without actually increasing the supply. Right? Like because you transfer one, and if that person so chooses, we saw a little bit of that with like Doodles. Doodles had done the same thing, but all you could do was swap one NFT for the other NFT when they introduced like the spaceship.
The spacecrafts. Yeah, but that was more of a wrapper. Like that was literally a wrapped NFT, like a wrapped asset where they added a skin over the top. And to be honest, there was a lot of people that sold their spaceship thinking that it was a second NFT and not a wrapped doodle. So that you had people flooring the spaceship for dirt cheap with a doodle inside of it, not realizing. Like there's a slight difference to this where it's like, I just think of it more like a loot box model because the tokens are literally spent on a loot box that could potentially pull a rare item, which just inherently is worth more than you spent.
And the interesting thing with, the only SPL token that I have exposure to is Mutant Mon, Nick, and they take a 2% fee every time you exchange the token for the NFT. So every time, like if you want to roll for a rare, basically they take a 2% fee, which then is burned, and that makes the supply of the token go down.
Well, they burn 1%, and the other 1% goes to the treasury.
Right.
So it's like inherently another vertical for revenue here. It's kind of the main thing is like you have royalties on the NFTs, and you have a buy and a sell tax on the token. So every time somebody buys the token, they earn 1%, and every time someone sells it, they earn 1%.
So wasn't this kind of conceptually what the idea behind Dust was for a minute?
Not really. Dust was closer to like the thing with what Frank did with Dust was that he wanted it to be like emissioned only through the NFTs. So like a DGOT at the time was like a node that would earn you dust.
There wasn't a fixed supply. It was just inflationary.
For a certain period of time. At an end date, there was that, and then they had halving events where you'd earn less dust over time. So it was more similar to like he based it off of like the Bitcoin white paper is what he ties it back to.
Look at this guy Benny Flacco in the comments, just putting sleepy emoji. Oh, I'm sorry, Benny. Sorry that we're out here learning about new opportunities for making money.
This is how you know Benny's not going to go after these projects we just talked about, or even understand why the price is going up.
Benny, what are your bags? Like, what are you holding on to right now that you're pissed that we're not talking about? Just be transparent and post it in there rather than like let us know.
He's got Bowden. He for sure has got Bowden.
There was a Bowden sign down here in Miami overlooking the financial district this weekend. A giant Joe Bowden sign that said "Buy Bowden," and that's all it was with the picture. I was baffled. I was like, "Dude, these guys are spending."
Benny, you're not responding to the question. You
just
said
bonk. He said bonk.
Bonk.
He loves bonk.
Okay.
Look at that Bowden sign, dude. That's
crazy.
Pretty fucking funny. Normal people must think that is the weirdest thing they'd ever seen ever.
Or they think it's somebody just shitting on Joe Biden. Like,
I don't think people like billboards are like the most like kind of useless ad, but it's just like a status thing to like throw your thing. Have you ever been driving down the street and you're like, I've went to the website of one. I've seen one billboard that I was like, "What is this?" And it was completely unrelated to whatever it was. They were like a jewelry place, and it was a very good billboard ad. But I've never like. Have you ever made a purchase as a result of billboards? I've bought Instagram ads, and all of that stuff is trash. Every single product.
Every product that's ever been sold on Instagram is trash.
It's garbage, dude.
Everything. Never buy anything you see and advertise on Instagram.
I wanted to make a video. I was like, can we just buy like 50 to 100 products off of Instagram? I want to do a video just on that.
A review of just all the hot garbage on there.
Exactly that I bought.
It's basically an indicator of if a product is bad, if it has Instagram ads being run. Anyway, very interesting to hear about the SPL 404 business that is being developed right now. Hopefully seeing some more updates on that. Interested to see how it gets integrated with Tensor. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, available on Apple and Spotify podcasts. YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. X platform video in addition to Twitter Spaces. So if you want to actually watch the show, it's available right here on X platform. We will be back tomorrow with more discussion on the crypto market. Very good stuff today.